The Project Summoner podcast is starting. Greetings, summoners. Hi, I'm Wilson, and the Project Summoner podcast starts today with episode 5 Accessibility, the limit to play. Accessibility means the quality or character of what is accessible and is related to that which is easily approachable and dealing with and acquiring. And in the Contest of Champions, which has a good level of accessibility due to support for various models of cell phones and tablets and your easy gameplay mechanics. There are still part about supports that the game doesn't reach, and in this episode, 3 items will be addressed that could work if the application was possible. First topic, controller support. Currently, in the mobile games market, there are very rare games that don't have native support for controllers, especially those that work via Bluetooth. And even though it's almost 10 years since its release, Contest of Champions doesn't have a native support for controllers. In case you're wondering about being able to play Contest of Champions using a Bluetooth controller on a cell phone or tablet, it's allowed. But be aware that, as Contest of Champions has a usage and gameplay architecture based on touching the screen, this makes the use of the controller limited. So, with this in mind, there will most likely not be native support for controllers. But if in the near future it's possible to implement native control support, it will be a great move as it will be pleasing to players who spend a lot of time playing and holding their cell phones, causing pain and discomfort. Second topic, version for consoles and PC. Now going to the field of consoles and PC, some games that are released usually receive ports for mobile devices. Obviously, with a drastic reduction in relation to quality and polish due to the limitations of cell phones and tablets hardware. And here comes the question, would it be totally feasible for the Contest of Champions to do the reverse path? A game that started on mobile devices to receive ports for consoles? The answer is yes and no at the same time. You're listening to Project Summoner Podcast Episode 5, Accessibility. Let's go to the context. In 2019, there was the launch of the arcade version of Contest of Champions, and since then, Kabam has been engaged in making expansions for other platforms, with the most recent projects being King Arthur and Shop titles. And in case you don't know, Kabam has already aware that there are players asking for Contest of Champions to have a version for consoles and PC. So, if Kabam wanted to launch the Contest of Champions for consoles and PC, they would inevitably have to make the game practically from scratch, as they would have to transcribe the functionalities of the interface and gameplay for the game to work without problems. But let's go to the options. Being very optimistic and hopeful, dreaming about the launch of the Contest of Champions for consoles and PC for the 25th or 30th anniversary seems to be possible with what we have today. Now, being realistic and knowing that Kabam is a medium-sized game developer, making a console and PC version of the game that is the head of the table of the company could either be a great success or could be a great catastrophe. And thinking in this 50-50 battle, they're dreaming of playing the Contest of Champions on a TV with the game running at 1080p 60 FPS and going to compete against other fighting games on the market become more and more utopic. Third topic, emulators. Now let's go to the most controversial topic of the episode. I warn in advance that this topic isn't intended to influence the use of emulators, but to make analysis of what we currently have and what is the outlook for the future in relation to the topic. Let's go. In case you don't know, the use of emulators to play the Contest of Champions is strictly prohibited, mainly due to possible use of hacks and third-party applications can be easier to implement thanks to emulator settings. With that in mind, let's go to the question, what makes someone download the emulator to play the Contest of Champions? Without thinking too much, it's probably because the device that the person has isn't compatible or is no longer compatible due to an update. And it's at this moment that the contest player enters a scam. Should they continue playing on the emulator until the account is banned and consequently stop playing? Or should they make a momentary stop until they have a compatible device? As obvious as the answer may be, stop playing a game like the contest tends to be difficult. So, for this problem, let's go to the possible solutions. Launch a platform on the PC, which would be possible to play all KBM games. For example, we have the Riot games. Or if something like Ubisoft Connect or Battle.net would be more advantageous. Another option will be what was already mentioned in the previous topic, the launch of console and PC version. If we assume that the contest graphics will not change, it will be very viable for notebooks and PCs with simpler specifications to run the game without problems. As a final option, we have the launch of a light version or with reduced effects of Contest of Champions. In this case, it would be the removal of some effects such as sands, lightning, and the like, so that device with little power could run the game and would also increase the player base. As a final analysis, it's possible to note that there are options to make the game more accessible, but the question that remains is, does Cabana have financial power and workers to get these ideas off paper? For now, it's practically impossible. But in the future, in another 10 or 15 years, who knows? After all, as Masters Uwe from Kung Fu Panda franchise would say, yesterday is a story, tomorrow is a mystery, but today, it's a gift. You're listening to the episode 5 accessibility of Project Summon Up podcast. Thank you for listening. I'm Wilson, and I'll see you around the battle realm.